Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I want to talk to you about the new Urban Decay Wild West palette, and we're also going to be talking about the amount of hate that this palette is getting and the reactions on social media. But first, make sure you're subscribed, and before we go into that, let's go and quickly review some January purchases that I made and I didn't have time to make a video for, so I'm just going to tell you my overall thoughts. I got the ColourPop Sandstone palette. Still haven't had time to play with it as much, but it's nothing special. Same goes with the ColourPop Melrose palette. Doesn't really inspire me, and I feel that the colors are very muted and but a little bit repetitive. But out of the two, I'll probably take the Sandstorm palette. And I also got the Blueberry Muffin palette. So many of you were asking what my thoughts were on. I find it a little bit harder to create certain looks with it. It's mostly blue and gray. I think it works great if someone has blue eyes, but for me, I've grown to love the Melt Cosmetics formula better than BH Cosmetics, just because they're not as pigmented and you have to really build up the shadows. It's just not something that I like to do, is to go and like build up shadows. I feel that I can go lighter on a Melt palette. Anyway, another one I picked up was the 1980s palette from Urban Decay, and it has a very similar sort of light sheerness to it, which I don't like, and it's probably best to be left in the 80s. Now, another palette that I did pick up was the Natasha Denona Mini Love palette, and that palette I reviewed in another video. It's okay. Is it my favorite palette of January? Probably not, but really it's hard to pick what's my favorite palette of January, Luster, except for one which I'll talk about. Now, the new Pat McGrath lip kit collection, I actually am pretty happy with that because it has a luxury feel to it, and the same with the liner. I think it's a good match for the liner, but price wise, I'm pretty sure if you hold off till Black Friday it'll be cheaper. So another one I got was the It's My Jam by Too Faced, and these were like $25 each. But out of all the minis that Too Faced came up with, I think It's My Jam one was actually slightly better. I'll give you an example. I also got the Be My Lover one, and the colors were so muted, and it's hard to really darken a crease in there, and just really overall not inspiring. So I think that the It's My Jam one was something that I reached out for more, even though both of them were pretty bad. And the one hit of January was probably the Blueprint palette by Melt Cosmetics, as well as the liner. I was actually not mad at it at all. I thought that if I play with it a little bit more, I can get some unique looks, and I'm starting to really like Melt Cosmetics a lot more after their Beetlejuice release, so I'm probably looking to get more. Another thing I did pick up was the Tartelette, the new Tartelette palette, as well as the new MAC Cosmetics Skin Finish Highlighter. I love the highlighter so much, I don't want to use it, but I will say the Tartelette one was pretty decent, but none of the January releases have blown me away. In fact, when I reached out to you guys and I asked you what are your thoughts, and if you can give me some ideas of what kind of new palettes to try, because I feel like everything is pretty much repackaged, and a lot of you have given me some good indie brand recommendations, which I'll list down below. Now, before we talk about the new Urban Decay release, I wanted to quickly go over how bad every single release of 2020 and before, and actually just recently, everything that Urban Decay, I thought 2020 was the decay of Urban Decay, and I guess 2021 it just continues. It's just everything they released last year, starting with the Wired palette that was just so chalky and lack of pigment, and then we had the Ultraviolet palette, which was also the same situation, and some of the shades were just hit and some of them were miss, and most of them were miss. In fact, I think everything they released last year just very lackluster, and they seem very much like a lost brand that don't know what they're doing, and they have definitely gone backwards. And what's with all the naming things naked? I mean, before they actually had some inspiration and they were doing galaxy theme things, but now they're not even trying to enter the multi-chrome world or trying to do something authentic, and they're just really riding on the coattails of the naked brand. And I feel like someone really needs to tell them that not everything needs to be naked or green is not really a naked color. And what I mean by that is, if you look at this palette, you have 2 greens in there, and already people are not liking it. And Trendmood says it's inspired by California trees and deserts, but it's called Wild West, which kind of more is, I think, is geared towards westerns, and it has that snake skin cowboy packaging on the outside, which reminds me of the Jackie Aina snake skin packaging on the outside, but it's not iridescent, so it supposedly has those like orangey reds and browns, but I don't see a whole lot of greens in western photos, so I don't know what was really the reason why they just wanted to add those 2 greens in there and still call it a naked palette. And when you look at the swatches, it's still like not super inspiring. Those 2 greens look so muted, and I don't think they justify the $49 price tag of basically getting another Urban Decay. It could be Naked 1, Naked 2, or Naked 3 plus a little bit of green, so not really worth it in my opinion. But I gotta say, when it comes to green brown palettes, one person that did it right, and I have to admit, is Natasha Denona with her green brown palette. I think that particular palette was one of my favorites, but there are cheaper alternatives to green brown palettes, such as the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette, or one of those Kaleidos Futurism palettes. I don't really recommend, but a lot of people have had issues with their Gemini palette as well. Another one is probably like a Makeup Revolution one, or a famous one is the Huda Beauty Emerald that has brown and greens in it. So again, I don't know why you would pay like $49 or $69 when you're not even getting anything unique, and it's 2021, and this brand has really overplayed the whole naked theme. And you can even consider the Charlotte Tilbury Starry Eyes palette from last year, and that one had a green in it. And if you're looking for especially minty greens, you have ColourPop or Huda Beauty. Also, again, none of these, I don't really care about Huda, but I'm saying that Urban Decay has actually fallen way behind all of these other brands, and I think the inspiration was probably trying to do a really good green brown palette, but I just don't really feel excited by looking at these promo photos, and I feel that the swatches are not that impressive. But I will say, I have to give them credit that they don't look as photoshopped. At least you can sort of assume that there's some opacity over covering these tattoo lines, and I find the names are a little cringy. They just really don't sound very good. So let's look at some of the comments. So people are saying they like the packaging, and that's true. Urban Decay really went from nude, cherry, honey, and then cowboys. It just seems so random that they decided to go into a cowboy theme. And someone says they've been holding on to the naked theme longer than I've been holding on to my sanity, which is funny. And people are saying they've really been making naked for nearly 11 years and need to come up with something new. Yes, definitely, I agree. This has been dragged on for too long, and I don't even know if there's really a market for this, and if there is, I'm pretty sure it will still go on sale pretty soon. I agree with these comments, and a lot of them are saying that they're going to pass on this, and I think most of us will pass on this. I might pick it up for a review, but I'm just thinking, yeah, it's another missed opportunity. I get that brands always have to pump out product every month or every other month in order to stay relevant and keep their business going. But I feel that this was not a good move on their part. They could have just done something more exciting. They've taken some inspiration from other brands that are really leading right now. Unfortunately, they seem to just be really lazy. And I agree with this commenter too, that they've just made a very lazy attempt. And yeah, I also don't know how to feel about this, but I'm really interested to find out literally who asked for this. I'm really interested to find out which one of you, if any of you guys are interested in this, and if you're going to be picking it up. And yeah, let me know in the comment section below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.